What happens when one of the most iconic superheroes in comic book history, The Flash, races into theaters and trips? Hard? Today, we're taking a deep dive into the Flash movie and uncovering why one of the most anticipated superhero films of the decade ended up being one of the biggest flops. From production issues to underwhelming execution, we'll break down exactly where it went wrong. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end for the surprising details you might have missed. Let's rewind the clock. When the Flash movie was announced, fans were excited. After all, this was supposed to be DC's multiverse extravaganza, their answer to Marvel's Spider-Man No Way Home and the Avengers saga. Directed by Andy Muschietti, the filmmaker behind It, there was reason to believe this movie could have been the breath of fresh air the DCEU desperately needed. Plus, Michael Keaton's Batman was coming back, a nostalgic pull for fans of the 1989 classic. But things didn't exactly go as planned. After years of delays, script rewrites, and behind-the-scenes chaos, The Flash finally made it to the big screen in 2023. The excitement around the multiverse concept was high, especially with rumors of cameos and game-changing crossovers. So, how did a movie with this much potential end up face-planting at the box office? I mean, when you're a movie about the fastest man alive, shouldn't getting across the finish line be easier? Alright, so let's talk about what The Flash did right and where it sprinted straight into disaster. First, the visual effects. This was a major point of criticism. Audiences were promised cutting-edge visuals, but what they got felt incomplete. From oddly rubbery CGI characters to Speed Force sequences that looked more like a PlayStation cutscene than a blockbuster film, the effects were jarringly subpar. In a superhero film, especially one that centers around a character like The Flash, the visuals need to blow you away. But here, they only took you out of the story. But perhaps the biggest issue was the story itself. The film tried to juggle too many things at once. Time travel, alternate timelines, multiple Batmans, emotional family moments, and of course, Barry Allen's personal journey. While all these elements have potential, the movie spread itself too thin. Instead of focusing on one strong, cohesive narrative, it felt like the film was trying to pack in as much fan service as possible. Michael Keaton's return as Batman was cool, but it felt more like a gimmick than a fully realized plot point. And then, there's Ezra Miller's performance. Controversy surrounded Miller before the film's release, and while they have moments of charm as Barry Allen, the overall reception was mixed. The double Barry concept, with Miller playing two versions of themselves, ended up feeling more distracting than clever. At times, it seemed like the emotional core of the film got lost in the chaos of its own multiverse shenanigans. But here's the kicker. Was it just the storytelling that failed, or was there something bigger at play that doomed The Flash before it even hit theaters? Hold on to that thought. Quick question. If you had the power to run at the speed of light, wouldn't you at least make sure your movie's CGI didn't look like a bad video game? Just saying. So, what's the final word on The Flash? At its core, this movie was a missed opportunity. It had all the ingredients for success: a beloved character, a multiverse story packed with nostalgia, and the return of Michael Keaton's Batman. But it failed to pull everything together. The over-reliance on cameos and fan service ultimately undermined the film's emotional depth, and the inconsistent tone didn't help either. Was it trying to be a serious time travel drama? A superhero comedy? Something in between? Even by the end, the film didn't seem to know. But to be fair, not everything was a disaster. There were moments of humor and heart, particularly in the scenes between Barry and his mother. The film's exploration of loss and the temptation to rewrite one's past could have been a powerful emotional hook, but those moments were drowned out by the overwhelming spectacle. So, what does this mean for the DCEU moving forward? Will The Flash serve as a cautionary tale of what happens when you lose sight of storytelling in favor of spectacle? Or is there still hope for a speedy recovery? Only time will tell. If you found this breakdown of The Flash interesting, you'll definitely want to check out my review of Joker, Folie à Deux, where I dig into why that sequel didn't quite live up to expectations either. You'll be surprised at how much both films have in common when it comes to missed opportunities. Click the end screen now, and let's continue the conversation.